our most popular collaborator, the man who's got the second best show on YouTube after Joe Rogan, and that is the one and only Bonsai Shongwe joins us today. Bonsai, you thought I was going to say? No,
I thought after State of the Nation.
We coming in third.
Yeah, no, this is the second most favorite show after Joe Rogan.
Okay, right.
I'm the third.
Yeah, but we're only there because of Pace Car Rental. You know the deal. Go and rent a car through them website. Use the code SONA. Get a discount. It's a deal you can't turn. You got nothing to lose. Just go and do it. And while you're surfing, subscribe to the State of the Nation if you haven't already. Bonsai.
Yeah, good to be back.
Good to be. Yeah, we said we'll make this a regular, and we'll catch up on the madness of being in South Africa.
Yeah.
We've had a month of it, looking at what happened a lot in the commissions, which you followed particularly closely. I think the thing that stands out for me as a starting point, and jump in at any point, has been this crazy, almost complete capture of the Hawks. They seem to have all these criminal syndicates had an absolute main line into the Hawks, isn't it?
Yeah. No, for sure. You had this, and this came out a couple of months ago when Malcolm X, he called himself a super consultant, was able to call General Libya, who was at a function, and he sent helicopters and the whole task team to stop, I think it was PKTT guys, from arresting Cat Molefe. There's so many cats. KT Molefe.
KT and Cat, yeah.
And it's just really crazy. But you then kind of get to understand why we don't see much coming out of the Hawks. I mean, I can't really think of a really high profile thing that the Hawks did in the last 5 years even, because they're busy. They're busy working for Cat and KT and the crowd,
And we mustn't forget that the Hawks were put together as a replacement for the Scorpions. And we were promised by our then President Jacob Zuma that these guys will be just as good as the Scorpions, but without the political interference. Well, they don't maybe not have the political interference, but the criminals started to interfere. And at the middle of it all seems to be Shadrack Sibiya, who seems like a real piece of work, doesn't he?
Everyone is calling Shadrack Sibiya's name. He seems to be the center of this, actually. And it seems to go back. I mean, I've heard other things that I wouldn't repeat because they're not on, media you can trust, but he's just been at the center of this, and his performance at the ad hoc committee kind of gave that away, because he was willing to be as ridiculous as he possibly could be, and the only time that you do that is because the other option is much, much worse. I mean, he just sat there and cried and said, "I'm a victim. Everybody hates me," and for 12 hours. And I don't think it's because he's that pathetic. I think it's because the other option is to start talking about anything real. So he's really at the center of this. And the other deputy, Cassel Matale, Julius's buddy.
Those are Julius's two buddies.
Yeah.
And remember, Sibiya was absent in both cases. He was absent when they came to Parliament.
No, of course. And he goes back with Matale to when he was premier, and he gave him the on-point tender, and then was put on a Section 100. So they have quite a history, and he was absent again. But at least he just seems like a whole appointment for no reason whatsoever. They tried to ask him what he does, and he says he does this and that.
I must say, he was almost like a one-man wrecking crew for the idea of deputy ministers.
He
really did destroy the entire facade of why. I mean, the government's had a hard time explaining why we have deputy ministers.
Yeah.
But they've managed to come out with an excuse that nobody would fall for. But this guy went out there and he popped that balloon. Yeah, he says, we just do nothing.
I'm sure the person that was enjoying that more than anyone in South Africa is Ethel Trollip from Action SA, because he's pushed his bill through to say scrap deputy ministers altogether. He helped. He helped Ethel. I think Ethel Trollip paid Cassel Matale for that ad hoc committee testimony. So it's a real thing. You know, it's one of those things that we don't talk about in the country anymore. The size of cabinet, and it just keeps bloating and keeps swelling up, from Mandela to Ramaphosa. At no point does it take a short dip. They just keep adding, and the latest excuse now is it's for the GNU, right? Because we had to fit everybody.
Yeah, it's quite something. One of the I recently had Mandy Wiener on the show, and I read her book, The Deal, and which I've got to say I highly recommend. It is really a good read, and it sort of reminds anybody that has an interest in South African politics what it was like, because you know things don't last long in South Africa. But some of the worst negotiations I've ever seen from the DA was they insisted on 6 cabinet posts, but they never figured on him just adding 6 more portfolios, right? And they did the same thing in Gauteng, where they had 3 cabinet posts in the Gauteng government out of 10. That was what they were thinking. And the guy just said, okay, well, I'll just add 3 more.
Yeah.
And they were all bullshit posts, right? You know, you end up being the Ministry of Stamp Collecting or something, you know. So, yeah. And of course, the other thing is that every successive president has promised that they were going to make the cabinet smaller.
Oh, of course. And they insisted on putting it on paper.
Yeah. Yeah.
And as if that makes a difference in terms of what the ANC will do afterwards. Because they have their statement of intent. It says we'll consider how the vote came out. But that didn't change anything either. Yeah.
But going back to the commissions, when it comes to bad performances, I think at the moment, as you know, we can question Shadrack Sibiya, but gee whiz, how bad was Senzoh Mchunu?
Immediately? Should I answer that immediately?
Well,
you want an immediate answer?
Immediately, we've got many versions of immediately.
You know,
but please, if you can answer it now, or soon, or sometime.
Let me answer it immediately. Okay. So
sorry, for those that don't know, Senzoh Mchunu put in his letter when he disbanded the political killings task team that it must be done immediately. He then spent 2 days sitting in Parliament explaining how immediately doesn't mean immediately. Immediately could mean immediately, or it could mean at some time in the future. And everybody's saying, but we all understand immediately to mean immediately, like now.
Yeah, it's like, no.
Yeah.
This is a different type of immediately.
Yeah.
Because from everything that's come out, it's pretty clear that whatever he did was so procedurally flawed that something is wrong, right? So there was the debate about where does the minister's power end and where does the commissioner's power start? But that debate is so useless because when you watch how procedurally flawed it is, he didn't talk to the MEC that started it. He didn't tell the MPA who were partners. He told nobody. He says, I sat at home on New Year's Eve, and while my kids and grandkids were lighting up fireworks, I sat down and I wrote a letter that said disband immediately. So it was just so ridiculous that a 5-year-old can see what's going on.
Yeah, because the dead giveaway is that he wrote the letter to disband the political killings task team on December the 31st at 4 p.m.
New Year's resolution. Yeah.
Right. You know, this official letter without telling his deputy, without telling his police commissioner, without telling anybody. And he wants everybody to believe that this was done procedurally correctly.
And while the police commissioner was on leave. Yes. I mean, it's just so ridiculous. So I think his performance was so, you know, when you're really caught out, you'd rather be found guilty of being incompetent, right? Than being found guilty of doing something wrong. And speaking of incompetent, we then go to Bheki Cele. Bheki Cele says, I recently retired top cop, did not know a guy who was arrested 18 times while I was police minister. Okay. And then found out about him 2 weeks before I met him. And when I met him, straight soon after that, went and stayed over at his house. And I do this all the time. This is normal. But once again, right, you'd rather be accused of sleeping everywhere than of something else. So it's really scary though when you look at it and just how these guys.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just you kind of wonder. I mean, our standards are just so low that we even have to overlook Bheki Cele's testimony and just think, okay, hopefully we get someone.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting going forward because certainly the president can't not come in here. And this is what's been good. This is what's been good about the ad hoc committee. I was so impressed by the ANC guys. Lekanyana
he's been good.
He's been doing an awesome job. And you have Nduli, who's got his mind on straight. You even have Sangoni, awesome. They've actually been doing a good job and not trying to run away from anything. So it's been very good. Julius Malema, who's been jumping in and out in the EFF, is actually doing a good job.
Yeah, he's great.
He's it's actually weird that we have to say this, but Julius Malema is one of our best parliamentarians in the country. He does a good job as a parliamentarian. I may not agree with his politics, but he's great. He really knows how to play that game. Funny enough, the DA has been so tone deaf to what's really going on here.
And subdued.
Yeah, so what, I mean, two things I think probably happened. The first thing is the DA has been coming after this cadre deployment and how it will lead to a mess like we are seeing now for the longest. Okay. The second thing is Mkhwanazi took shots at Collar Barnard. Okay, so you then, but what's coming out with the DA's performance? I mean, everyone in South Africa, if you watch a committee like that, you assume the hardest grilling is gonna be Breitenbach, right? Because she has experience. Yeah, she's been grilling criminals for years, and they've been doing a whole. So they've been playing two games. The first one was defending Collar Barnard beyond just defending principle. And I think it kind of comes across like they were sulking, but that's one thing. But the second thing is they've missed such an opportunity. This ad hoc committee sits right inside of the basket of what they've been fighting for 20 years, right? But now also what happens is this is a classroom because you will never have so many eyes on Parliament. We haven't had it.
Cameras.
You have all the eyes. Everyone's watching. And number two, everyone's engaged because they're learning, so I could get shot now. So everybody's listening. And they've gone with a whole setup that says, this is just politics. They're fighting for positions. And everybody knows this. Everybody does not know this. And I think they've probably let go of winning a few hearts that they could have, and the loudest noise will take some of those of new people.
Yeah.
But it's been quite an education for the country.
And the guys who've been quite effective, I think, have been the guys from the MK, from Mkhonto weSizwe.
Yeah.
They've been feisty. In actual fact, if they just lose that edge where they keep on wanting to fight with the other parliamentarians,
Yeah.
their questioning was pretty good.
Of course, they're using it as you would expect, because they can see it's going to lead up to Ramaphosa, which is what the MK is all about, right? Sure. Let's get the ANC of Ramaphosa. So and they're following that trail to get up to him, and they're getting the mileage out of it. And even when it hits Zuma, they stay mature enough and keep their eye on the price to go up for it. So personally, I think the DA is the worst performer in the commission. You even have is it Darylene James from Action SA? Oh, she's riding the wave, because when you have an ad hoc committee like this, it's more than just holding the people accountable, right? That'll happen eventually with the report and all of that. But I think especially when it's so high profile, I don't understand politicians forgetting politics.
Yeah.
Right? Because otherwise we just go to the Madlanga Commission, and Madlanga is grilling them better than some politicians.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
And you would have thought, because the DA has got Glynis Breitenbach and Ian Cameron, and both of them came into politics, the one as a prosecutor, the toughest prosecutor, the other as a champion of the civil society with regards to law enforcement.
Yeah.
And the other day I somewhere saw that interaction that Cameron had with Bheki Cele before he got into politics, and you think, where's that guy?
Yeah.
And where's Glynis Breitenbach, who was so good? And here these guys just look like they don't want to be there.
Yeah.
And I've got to say, the weirdest thing is to watch the ANC holding the ANC to account, which is got me very surprised.
And doing a very, very good job at it. And Ian Cameron has done okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Ian Cameron has at least just done the work.
Yeah.
And I think that it's Breitenbach that sticks out like a sore thumb, because she's the no nonsense.
Yeah.
No nonsense ex-NPA, ex-prosecutor. And so there are higher expectations on her.
The person I thought who was responsible for the best moment and the worst moment was Ashley Sauls from the Patriotic Alliance, because he did the best. He made the best comment, and that was Bheki Cele, who's now stayed at the criminal's house, the guy who has gunned down people.
Yeah.
And he says, why, when they said to him, how can you stay at the house? He says, it's nice to get free stuff. And Ashley Sauls floored him by saying, listen, this wasn't free, but Mita Diakaran paid for that with her life.
Yeah.
Which was a great comment, and it brought it back to, this wasn't just a guy stealing sweets from the street counter. These are people that have killed people by stealing money from hospitals, not only gunning down whistleblowers.
Yeah.
And then he was responsible for that cringeworthy moment where he tried to say that this commission should stop and there's nothing to this. And that's obviously because his deputy president was found at Katmatlala's house.
How many times?
Twice.
Yeah.
I forgot the other time.
Yeah. So he started fighting. I mean, it was just so cringe watching him fight for Kenny Gunene. I mean, I remember the one time he went on for hours saying that if the police commissioner says detectives say they found him there twice, this is just hearsay.
Yeah.
And why is he spreading rumors in Parliament? Like, okay.
And
if detectives talking to the general is a rumor, then I don't know what isn't.
Yeah, and then if it wasn't bad enough, as Senzoh Mchunu was looking too out of his depth for words, says you did the right thing by disbanding the task team, and everything they've done should be disregarded.
Not only did you do the right thing, but you should have done it earlier, because this was such a waste of time. Why are you paying for anything? And he started going on and said, this added no value. It's a waste of money. In fact, let's cut down the police. In fact, let's shut it all down. It was just so ridiculous how Ashley Sauls does good grilling in Parliament. He actually is one of the great grillers.
Good that it stood out when he did that.
Yeah.
So looking ahead now, there's two big questions that kind of come up, and one is, will President Ramaphosa be involved? Because it's going to be very difficult for him not to be there, because so many questions were asked whether he knew about the disbanding of this team. It would be hard not to get called.
Yeah.
And then, of course, are we going to hear from the Cat and the Katie and Malema?
I think that's going to be one of the views are going to be so great on that one. Because they do want to bring him, and they're trying to figure out if someone's at maximum C, you either going to have to set up a mini parliament inside the prison or bring him across.
Or buy him one of those masks like Silence of the Lambs and wheel him in there.
If it's Silence of the Lambs, then we are in trouble. So, but I mean, who knows if someone's going to try and intercept them and get him to escape. Anything's possible right now.
Give him bail.
Oh, yeah. Or let him out with 1,000 other people. So let's hope he's around to make it. And Ramaphosa has to come because, first of all, he set up the commission to investigate, meaning he doesn't know. And he made statements saying it was great. And he reportedly told his minister, you have my blessing. So he absolutely has to come through. And I think that's going to be interesting to watch. But we know what Ramaphosa will do. He'll just speak around in circles. So I don't think we'll really get anything out of him. It will be like his Zondo Commission appearance, where he says, as a deputy president, I was deputy over state capture, but I knew nothing about it. But now that I'm president, even though I'm a completely incompetent deputy president who knows nothing about what happens in the office where I work, now that I'm president, I'm going to grow some magical competence and solve this, which I didn't know about for the 9 wasted years, right? So, but I think what's happened with this commission is it's blown a hole in the 9 wasted years garbage, because what Ramaphosa did very well was to scapegoat Zuma for ANC corruption. So now he had a portion of time where the ANC was clean because the problem was Zuma. And out of that, the MK party was able to, to steal 10% from the ANC because many people could see, I know I'm corrupt. So if you say only Zuma's corrupt, you got to be lying, because as an ANC member, I'm also corrupt. And so many of the people moved across to Zuma. And if they had allegations, they've all gone across, right? The Lucky Montanas, the Brian Mulifez and all of them. So that was short-lived, but I think what this commission has done is it's gotten rid of that whole narrative. And it's pretty clear the problem is the ANC. Everybody's ANC, Zuma's and Ramaphosa's ANC has always been corrupt,
And then possibly the worst thing I've ever heard, but I've got to say she was a hero and then she left office, and since then I don't think she said anything that makes sense, and that's Thuli Madonsela saying there should be blanket amnesty. Do we need another amnesty in this country? It's time that somebody goes to jail. I don't see, she's comparing it to Hong Kong in the 70s. No, this is like, it's terrible. Terrible idea. Which luckily I don't think it'll gain any traction. But quite crazy that she should even think it's a good idea.
You know, one of the things that has warped our sense and our compass in South Africa is that we've had so much corruption that South Africans have never looked into anything else about many people. So if you come out and say, I'm tired of this corruption, we all assume, oh yeah, we all together and it unites us, right? And it's actually quite deceptive because once someone goes against corruption, we assume that's the good guy, right? So, and they have their head screwed on straight and whatever else. And it's been happening so many times in South Africa that many people rise on the wave of corruption is bad. And it's so sad because we you know, saying corruption is bad shouldn't give you any points, because you know, that's entry level. So Thuli Madonsela is one of those, for me personally, my opinion. Thuli Madonsela is one of those people who confuse the country by standing against the corruption at Nkandla. But outside of that, no, I have not agreed with a single thing Thuli Madonsela ever said.
Now there is no doubt that there's going to be political fallout from this. There's no carpet that sweeps this up, especially, you know, unless they just try and strangle us to death with boredom, where it just carries on for months and months and months, and you know. But what does show is that there are some good people out there. Those policemen that actually did the arrest, that had to testify in camera because you know, they fear for their lives. My word, they had to fight off the hawks worse than they had to fight off the criminals.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine this state resources being used to protect someone who's getting arrested for violent crimes, right? And you know, it's really sad that we've moved from corruption no longer means missing money. It now means missing lives. We all of a sudden, people are getting killed every time they find corruption. There's the auditor in Eguruleni who put in a report, gets followed and shot. Brown Mokgotsi, because we're waiting for him at the commissions and Madlanga Commission, he just got shot at last night. We don't have much information. And of course, Babita Diakran, just so many people actually, and Aman Swat, and some people in the Free State. It's really become quite serious that corruption has gone beyond missing money now. It's missing lives.
And of course,
the usual.
At some point, somebody must add to that the people who have died because they couldn't get health care at Tembisa Hospital. And when the drug story comes out, the people who have been killed by Nyaupi addicts, that this is fueled. And
you know, we talk about Tembisa Hospital, but the whole issue of people who die because of hospitals that are just horrible, that goes back over a decade. Many people, when they get very sick, say, "Take me home." Because they know they'll die quicker at the hospital than they will at home, and it's a fact now.
Now, moving away from the commissions, Bonsai, we are talking off air. Finally, there was a meeting with the GNU party leaders, a retreat. They spent the weekend at a place near Cradle of Humankind. Apparently, they watched cricket. They bonded, and this has been a long time coming. Do you think that there'll be any effort to make this thing work? And there's no evidence that it'll make any difference, but
I think they will try to make it work. They committed to stay in it, and they committed to its success. The only problem is it's a very weird animal, and the objectives go like this. Ramaphosa's objectives: get the GNU to somehow work enough to let the ANC bounce back to 51%. Objective number 2, get the GNU to work in such a way that it destroys the DA and gives us 51%. Then you have the DA in there. Objective number 1, get the GNU to work for the country. Objective number 2, get the GNU to work so that the DA grows and the ANC must go down. So they do want it to succeed. The only problem is the measure of success is quite a weird one. Fikile Mbalula says the GNU is a strategic setback of the revolution, and so even though we've gone in there, the NDR continues. Okay, and then you have the DA, because now, first of all, we only have the GNU because the ANC needs to keep distance from the DA, right? So let's get married, but just live next door and only visit at night. Yeah. Okay. So I'm talking about them too, because the other parties are so that you can say 10 of us, right? We did do basic maths, and basic maths says the GNU's ANC and DA, that goes over 51% and over 60%. So I don't see what direction the GNU goes, but it's got 3 problems. Number 1, the initial excitement is over, so they need to deliver. Number 2, they have their ideological positions, and I don't see how they can debate and come out with some middle ground. And also, if they do, now they've got to fight over the results, because the ANC is in a position where I know they will feel like if the GNU works, the DA is going to say, see, now that we came in, we brought success to the ANC. So it's quite a complex animal.
It is quite complex.
Where the success is bad and the failure is bad.
Yeah.
And they must somehow choose one of them.
Yeah, so let's try and analyze it quickly, because I'm sure we are about as well placed as anybody, because there's kind of 3 scenarios here, right? Scenario 1, it muddles along like this. The country doesn't because let's call it what it is. At the end of the day, it's all about the economy and jobs. Yeah. Because it's not, this thing about the revolution only counts if somebody's going to start revolting, and there's no revolution here. And that's why I think a dullard like Mbalula keeps on going for the words revolution, because he's not bright enough to think of words that really make a difference in people's lives. So you try and hark back to the revolutionary days, because they were more simple to analyze. Yeah. So we can expect that from an idiot like him. But let's just look at it this way. Scenario 1, right? This thing hits the rocks. The DA keeps on behaving like an opposition party. At the same time, the ANC keeps on behaving like a majority party. Everybody feels that they're losing votes, and they break it off now or at the beginning of the year, next year, ahead of the elections, that they could say, we tried, it failed, now we're back to where we were. Right, so that's scenario number one. Scenario number two is they keep on muddling along as they are.
Yeah.
Right, the economy doesn't improve, but they're still together, and, it carries on as it is, right? And then scenario number three, they find each other. Mystically, they suddenly say, guys, we're all going to drown if this boat goes down because we're in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah.
We find each other, and then you take the best. They use the Madlanga Commission, etc., as the jumping off point to say, okay, let's put a whole lot of people in jail. Let's do a few economic, because it'd be quite an easy problem to solve in South Africa. We get 5% growth. We go do a deal with a few of our trading partners, and suddenly we've got 5% growth, and we suddenly forget about politics again. Okay, so those are the three scenarios. So now let's look at it in that light and say, what do the DA and the ANC look like with all three of those scenarios? So the first one is, if they have to call it quits tomorrow, right, or in March, and now they go. So now they've split up, and they've said it's his fault, and he says it's your fault, and there's a lot of finger pointing. What do you think the ANC's national vote looks like in that case?
Well, first of all, the split has an impact on what the vote looks like afterwards. Okay, so the difficulty about the GNU, so both of them wish it would split. Okay, because they hate being there.
Yeah, okay, so, but let me just interject there. So they both, but they went in with, let's say, 40 and 20% of the vote.
Yeah.
So they both feel that if it splits, we're going to benefit. One would imagine, because they hate each other.
Yeah.
Will that actually happen?
No, they wish it would split because they hate being stuck together.
Right.
Okay, so arch enemies forced into one house. They wish there was a way that they didn't have to work together. But how it splits has an impact on what their votes will be afterwards. So if it splits, so let's say this, there probably is around 5% for the ANC, probably about 3% in the DA that will be lost if the reason for the split is clearly their fault. Okay, so if it splits because the DA did something wrong, they'll probably lose around 2.5%, 3%. Probably 10%, and the ANC maybe 4 to 5%. So they don't want to lose that because they don't want to look bad as the immature side that is so selfish. So which then tells us also then it can't split, right? They will shout at each other, they will threaten each other, and we've seen enough, right? We're pretty clear by now. The DA is not going to leave, and we're pretty clear by now the ANC is not going to kick them out, right? As they kept speaking, why don't you we'll kick them out? But we know they can't, right? So I think scenario one, let's forget about it. It won't happen, and they are just going to tinker along. But now when you look at scenarios, the biggest decider is leadership. Okay. So when do you remember President Ramaphosa taking a decision on anything? Right? Because even for them to find each other, there will have to be a commission to discuss the dynamics inside the GNU, and then Madlanga will have to tell Ramaphosa to find each other, and then he might or not carry out that recommendation. So I think it's very hard for me to ever come to a place of imagining a scenario where Ramaphosa makes a decision that carries some kind of responsibility on him for having made the decision. He does not do those. He has never done those. I doubt that he will start now, no matter what's going on, right? Think about this. Why do we have the Madlanga Commission? It's because Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi went out and spilled the beans. And the beans he spilled, Ramaphosa knows better than Mkhwanazi, right? Because he gets intelligence briefings. Even then, he couldn't come back and make some kind of decision. He had to give us a 3-year process in Parliament and at the Madlanga Commission. So I don't know. How do you find each other without someone saying, guys, wait, we're going to find each other now. I'm done with the shouting. Everybody sit in a circle. In 2 hours, we leave with a decision on this one matter. I don't see Ramaphosa doing that ever. So scenario 1, it falls apart. That won't happen. He keeps whatever's working to happen. Scenario 2 is?
They muddle along.
Well, then they strengthen the MK and the EFF because they have been pretty weak. I don't understand what's happened. Maybe because of all the issues in the EFF and the MK not really being a party yet. They haven't taken advantage of this because they should be making the biggest noise about the GNU being useless right now. And they haven't really done something about it. Actually, we don't have much of an opposition, strangely. Maybe it's because the MK is not so organized. And I think also Julius Malema seems to have toned down. I don't know if it's because of all the troubles that have been coming at him lately.
Yeah, and it's also only one man. It's hard for him to cover a lot of ground. He's got rid of leadership. It's only him.
He's lost the guys, and maybe he's just keeping the boat afloat. But he hasn't done much in terms of taking advantage of GNU's ineffectiveness. So I think they will just muddle along, and I'm placing my bet on Ramaphosa to not let me down,
not let you down, and
by keeping it going.
Yeah.
And they will, I don't think it serves either of them.
Now, I could surprise you by grabbing scenario number 3.
Okay.
And that is, I could see a way where they decide that scenario 1 or 2 is going to hurt them. But there is scenario 3 that nobody's expecting. And that is for them to do what you would have done, let's say if it was a business deal, where you force together and you make it work. Just they could have done it last year, but they chose not to. But I think that has come at such an enormous cost that they could suddenly get together, let's say on the weekend, and decide, guys, we've thrown our lot in together. Let's just do these few things that the world wants us to do. And we could have South Africa growing at 4 or 5% almost immediately. You go do a trade deal with the US, you go do a trade deal with China, you do a few little things, you do a little bit of a bit like what we're seeing now with Transnet. You start running it better. And we're talking, because we come off a very low base, where you actually just get people to do their jobs. Yeah. And you don't have to do a lot. We could move interest rates down quite easily. You make the place, we are not quite an investor unfriendly place, but we're an investor not welcoming place. Yeah. Right? Yeah. So you placate investors, that's easy to do. You don't have to change one law. You just have to say, guys, we're just not going to do the stupid shit. Right? Yeah. Yeah. And we have 5% growth. almost immediately everybody's problem is solved.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised that it's not because they're going to do it because they want the country to be a better place or because Ramaphosa suddenly wants to lead. But I think it could happen because I think that they've run out of options. To carry on the way they are is not going to work for either party, if you ask me.
Yeah.
And, you're putting yourself forward and by doing that, they get rid of a whole lot of small parties. I think if they have to do that, MCO goes down to 5%. In the DA side, if they have to do that, they'll win back those votes that they're losing to the Patriotic Alliance or whatever. I think it's a very, very easy solution, and that might get the ANC back above 50% a lot easier than doing any other deal.
Yeah.
So that would be the motivation for them to do it.
Yeah, for sure. I gotta say,
it's hopeful.
That is so hopeful and so optimistic. So, and it's possible. We live in a world where anything happens.
We're alive with possibilities.
So we were under Bheki. So now, just go back though to ANC 2/3 majority, losing 2/3, going over 50%, coming all the way down to 40%, coming all the way down to where polls start putting them at even lower percentages, and then go back to ANC metros and ANC beginning to lose metros every 5 years until when all the metros are gone, and the same ANC to where the national majority is gone. At no point did they do the "Hey guys" speech. So I think it's safer to assume the "Hey guys" speech is not coming because we have history to draw from.
Yeah.
So the ANC will sink, repeat the same lines, stick with the same flawed reasoning, keep talking revolution, because I think part of it is it's very hard to expect a cultural shift in an old organization like the ANC, because to say let's try some sense is to betray some of your followers. So I think, unfortunately, the only scenario I can imagine is the ANC being a rural party that keeps talking revolution, keeps calling it all a strategic setback in line with our strategy and tactics and catered deployment policy document, keep thinking they run everybody, keep thinking everybody cares about, government of national unity. I mean, even the attempt now to say the GNU is 1994.
Yeah.
Well, 50% of the population, including me, has no visceral connection to 1994 because I was young, right? So I know the history, but I wasn't following CODESA then. I was too young to follow CODESA. That's what my dad did on his newspaper. So as much as I kind of get what happened, I wasn't following it because I didn't care, because I wanted a new BMX. Okay. So they and they are so stuck in pre-1994 and don't realize that every 30-year-old only speaks about it, theoretically. Funny, I had a conversation with someone who's 30 years old, and so they said something about apartheid, and I said, okay, cool, pull up a seat, and I put up a timer, and I said, okay, cool, let's give you 5 minutes. I will not interrupt you. What is apartheid? Tell me. I placed the clock there. They were like, yeah, I mean, it's like, and they used up 10 seconds and they were stuck, right? And that was the point I was trying to make to them, that you realize you're talking about something you know nothing about. And as much as it works as a you know, a single line, but the ANC is literally out of touch with the time, with the people, and unfortunately, the only change that could come is to change the ANC. So I wish I was more positive, but Ramaphosa is not going to make any decision that changes anything.
Well, you see, I tried, man. I tried to use optimism over reason. That didn't work. But let's see, Bonsai, it's great to have a catch up with you. And despite it all, in fact, sometimes despite the politicians, South Africans will prosper.
Yeah.
It's given us a certain steel, and that's not a bad thing to have going into the future, but we're looking further out, and that is that, you know, you can think you're going to kill us off by taking away our electricity, we'll get generators.
Yep.
You think you're going to take away something, we'll do our own. You know, take away your police, we'll get security guards, whatever it is. And that's made something that the comrades don't like, and that is a whole bunch of resilient people that don't rely on the state.
Yeah.
We are not a bunch of defenseless, useless people.
Not even for the police anymore.
Not even for the police. We know it's out there. There's a lot to monitor. We will get Bonsai back next month to give us another collaboration. To everybody that joined us today, thank you so much, Bonsai. Let's support our mates at Pace Car Rental. I think we should get them to sponsor your show as well.
I think so. So that if you right now put Sona, you get 10% off.
No, 5%, sorry.
5% off.
I made that mistake and nearly got a lashing.
You get a discount.
You get a discount,
And soon you'll put Bonsai and get a discount. But
I think that's fair. Yeah. But thanks for joining us, to everybody, and subscribe to both channels, Bonsai Shongwe and State of the Nation. I'm sure by now you have subscribed to. Thank you so much for joining us today. We'll see you again soon. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.